It is a known fact that I am now the best Banban tuber of all time. I have dedicated so much of my being to this awful game that I feel like I deserve that title. But if I am to maintain that title, I obviously need to thoroughly analyze the new trailer for Garten of Banban 2. For those of you that have not been made aware, a trailer for the upcoming sequel to Garten of Banban has been released by the developers. It is 1 minute and 20 seconds long, and basically features more content than the original game. It still looks dumb as hell, and we'll get into that. I genuinely cannot believe that there are people saying this looks acceptable unironically. But this does actually give us plenty of material to work with. I'm here to dissect this in its entirety, because that is my job. Please watch to the end, I need this. The first 3 seconds appears to be a chase sequence featuring both Banbalina and Jumbo Josh. Banbalina is the one chasing after you, and Jumbo Josh's large green arm swings around the corner. This area also looks the same as a screenshot we've had for a while on the Steam page, so I'm wondering if this will be a really major chase sequence featuring most of or even all of the characters. Because in this weird pink area that I don't understand at all, we have now seen Banbalina, Jumbo Josh, and Banban himself. And it's worth mentioning that the trailer for the original Garten of Banban literally started with the end of the actual game, so I'm willing to bet that this opening scene of this trailer is the end of the game. Not to mention that this is obviously a chase sequence, and both Poppy Playtime chapters end with a chase sequence, and Garten of Banban wants to be Poppy Playtime so badly, so it would just make sense. The next shot is of an orange Captain Fiddles in a green room looking at a whiteboard with some drawings. This shouldn't be so funny to me, but like, there's something really strange about this shot to me. I would love to have some big-brained explanation of this, but I do not. I cannot explain why there's an elephant, or why there is a fish, or why there is a child, and I cannot decipher what the hidden word is. Also, why is this dude orange? We've seen different colored Captain Fiddles prior to this trailer, and we will see more, but the main one that we've always known about doesn't actually appear in the entire trailer. So I just found that kind of strange. Then there's a door with Banban's face on it. There are a few doors with characters on them, so we'll get back to this when it actually matters. The next shot is of this goofy blue dude with 3 eyes and a fucked up mouth. He also has a weird birthday hat like Banban and Banbalina. Maybe this guy is meant to complete a trio, and they're the one that got left out in the end. This location does also appear to be the same as in this screenshot, which we've also had for a while. I don't know where this guy came from, or where this is meant to be, so we'll have to wait to see more. The next scene seems to take place in some sort of storage facility. Before I had the time to get this video out, there was actually a few screenshots leaked as well, and one of them is also of seemingly the same area. We're going to ignore the fact that this is meant to be a kindergarten, because I'm genuinely convinced the Euphoric brothers didn't even take their very own concept into account. There are a lot of empty shelves, and there's nothing cartoony besides the 2 characters seen on the walls in the background, but this is just an illustration for the safety measures in place for the workers. God knows what would be stored in this place, but I believe that's all it is. The next scene is something that I'm really not looking forward to. This scene either shows that the drone will have different modes, different skins, or that there will be a series of different drones. Either way, this can't go well. Well, unless it's just a skin. There is a chance that this is a purely cosmetic-based thing, and that's what I'm really hoping for. The drone in the first game, although it was arguably the most creative part of the game, was absolutely dreadful. It was slow, unresponsive, buggy, just flat-out awful. If this is meant to tell me that the drone will now do different things, that's just going to be a complete disaster. If it will now have the ability to do different things, or if there are different drones that do different things, it's pretty obvious why they did this. Garten of Banban is a Poppy Playtime ripoff, and the drone is basically the equivalent to the hands. Poppy Playtime Chapter 2, to expand on the original idea, replaced the red hand with nothing special about it with a green hand that had different abilities. I'm assuming this is basically the same thing. My guess as to what this will actually do is that different colors of drone will work for either different colors of buttons or different colors of rooms. Because I'm pretty sure every drone is meant to represent another character, and as I've mentioned, there are a bunch of doors shown with different characters on them. Maybe different drones will apply to different areas. That's just something that sort of came to my mind, something that I kind of pieced together because I figured there would be a reason for them to show this off in the trailer, but it could be a purely cosmetic-based thing, which is, of course, ideal due to the incompetence of the people making the game. But if there are actually going to be several abilities attached to this thing, I cannot see that going well. Like I mentioned, there are a few doors with mascots on them, but there's nothing of significance to talk about, so I'm just skipping over them. However, this one gives us the cartoon of the blue creature we saw earlier. I don't really understand how this character works in the cast of Banban. Why do they not exist anywhere else? Why do they have a door with their face on it here, but nowhere on the main floors in the first game? And this does not apply to only this character, but we'll get to that shortly. Here's the blue dude. The next scene is this. What the actual fuck? How is this place so big? What happened to, you know, the kindergarten? I'd be willing to entertain the idea that everything we've seen before is under the kindergarten, but I have to draw a line at this shit. And what is this meant to be? Is this a character? Is this a fucking moon? Is it a clown? The one positive thing I can say about this is that this is easily the scariest screen in any official Garten of Banban media. But the bar was through the fucking floor, and this still looks stupid as fuck. This is probably technically the best scene in the trailer, but it is the one that I hate the most because it's simply so arbitrary and stupid. Where is this taking place? How did you do this? In the next scene, we are a doctor for Captain Fiddles. That is genuinely my takeaway for it. For the first few frames, you can see the orange Captain Fiddles on what looks like a hospital bed with a monitor and a light on his right. You then go over to what looks like green liquid, but you fill it as opposed to empty it, so I'm not so sure what's going on here. Before we actually reach the jar of green liquid, there is this graphic on the wall that points every version of Captain Fiddles to this green symbol, so there's something going on between this green substance and the character Captain Fiddles. Now, again, it's hard to say how complex this game will be compared to the first one. Given how empty and shallow the first game is, it's hard to say how much the sequel will actually build on it, and if it'll actually just be straight lazy. But something I'm theorizing about here is I'm wondering if this green substance is something that's bringing life to, at the very least, the Captain Fiddles cast, and maybe we're meant to be retracting it out of them to kill them? Maybe it's something like how, it kind of reminds me of in Security Breach when basically your main goal for a lot of the game is to decommission the animatronics that are killing you. Maybe it's something like that? This graphic must mean something, and like I said, you don't actually take the green liquid out of the jar and bring it to Captain Fiddles, apparently. You have it with you at this point in the trailer, and you put it in the jar. So that kind of leads me to believe it was retracted from him. But I'm not so sure. We'll have to wait and see more. The next shot is of basketballs with sunglasses and a text bubble that says, "We're the cool kids and we chew gum. Get us gum for money." I know the Euphoric Brothers are young adults, but I feel like they went to school like 50 fucking years ago. Then there's a scene of a small room with 2 buttons and an X on the wall. Was this really worth showing in the trailer? Nothing happens here. There's nothing to be seen. Then there's this hall with a bunch of colors and some rooms and buttons. There seems to be some literal shit on the floor. Not sure what that's about. Next, we get a look at another brand new character. This guy looks dumb as shit, but I guess that makes him fit in. The next scene is in a room with some benches, but most noteworthy is the graphic that says, "Wait your turn or everyone falls to their deaths." Are you scared yet? I know I'm petrified. Then you pick up a note left on the table that reads, "Behind you. Are you scared yet? Are you scared?" If I'm being totally honest, though, I do have a theory relating to this exact shot that's unironic. So if you want me to explain that at a later date, then I'll do that. Then we get yet another new character. This one is a snail and is probably the most unironically good design from Garten so far. Jumbo Josh and Opila Bird are legends, but as far as actually being not horrendous, the snail is alright. And then the next scene features a full indoor beach with fucking cannons. Who funds this fucking school? This is where I must remind you once more, this is a kindergarten. Not even just like a school, like this doesn't go from K to 6, or let alone K to 8. This is a kindergarten specifically. Who paid for this shit? Then there's this godforsaken obstacle course kind of section that I'm sure will be incredibly fun to play. In the next scene, we see 2 more Captain Fiddles. These ones appear to be fucking dead. There does also appear to be a couple gurneys, so there's definitely a theme throughout this with Captain Fiddles and being ill in some way. Again, I had a little theory about that. And nearing the end, we get a look at the entire gang. Once again, there's a problem here. Where were the new characters in the last game? This is literally an edited version of the same image from the first game. What changed? Regardless, the new guy on the right is trying to grip his cock, and I don't understand that, and the blue guy isn't even almost in frame, so this is just a weird image. Again, I'm thinking that's meant to like represent how the blue guy was separated from the cast in some sort of way, but then he still got an image. He's not with them, but he still got his own image and his own door, so I don't really know what the story behind this guy is. Garten of Banban had 6 characters, and 4 of them weren't used. I just don't see why there are now 9. And that's not even including the fact that Captain Fiddles, one of the characters that wasn't used, has multiple different versions of itself now. Just seems like they're kind of trying too hard to fill it with shit that doesn't need to be there. Kind of like Security Breach. But if you were worried there wouldn't be a top-tier conclusion to this trailer, worry no more. The protagonist walks around a corner of blue walls and sees this. The bird is spreading. There are now more than ever before. Opila Bird smashed and had at least 6 kids. Bird Up will never die. In fact, it only gets stronger. Bird Up forever. Bird Up for life.